excited about today's project. Even though more than half of my audience are in summer at the moment, it is winter here in Australia. So if this isn't one that you can do at the moment, then just save it away for autumn or winter, because I promise it is so worth it. So I'm gonna shut up now and let's get started. Okay, so I thrifted this amazing sweater a couple of months ago, but it's a little bit too small, so unfortunately I never wear it. But the dog print is just adorable, so I thought that I would try and turn it into something more wearable. So the first thing I did was to turn the sweater inside out. I put a bunch of pins through both layers to hold them together, and then decided on the shape of my skirt. My waist measurement is 30 inches, but because this material stretches, I'm going to take 2 inches off that measurement. I'm also going to allow a little bit more room across here for my hips and butt. So I'm going to draw something like this in pen onto my inside out sweater. Of course, if you're using a more oversized sweater, then you would draw something like this instead. Now I'm going to use my overlocker to both cut and sew the sides of the skirt at the same time. So I'm going to run my overlocker down both the sides of the sweater like this. So first, I've set my overlocker's differential feed to its highest setting so that I'll get a waver-free seam. This will just mean that hopefully the seam will be as flat as possible. And then I sew. And that's a pretty alright seam. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now I've done this on both sides, I'm going to cut along this line through both layers of the sweater. Then I turned it the right way around again. Now for my waistband, I am using this navy blue rib jersey material, but any kind of jersey material or even an old t-shirt should do. So I folded this fabric in half. I then stuck some pins in it to keep the 2 layers sandwiched together in place. I then measured a rectangle that is 5 inches by 14 inches, and then cut this rectangle out on the fold, which I then unfold so I have this strip which is 28 inches by 5 inches. So then I place this waistband fabric down onto the front of my skirt like this, and then I start putting in pins, pinning this bit of fabric onto my skirt all the way around. And once I've pinned it on all the way around, I join the 2 ends of the waistband together like this. And then I'm going to sew the waistband onto the skirt. So because I have an overlocker, I'm going to first sew the waistband in place using a very long straight stitch, also called a basting stitch. Then I removed all the pins, and now using my overlocker, I sew again all the way around. The next step was to measure a piece of elastic. The elastic I got is 1.5 inches wide. I wrapped a piece of elastic comfortably around my waist, and then pulled it just slightly tighter to measure the correct length. Then I unfolded the waistband and again turned everything inside out. Then with the waistband material, I folded it down in half so that the raw edge lay just on top of the seam that I made when I attached the waistband. Then I started putting in pins to hold it all together. Now I'm going to sew across this to make a kind of tube out of the waistband attached all the way around the skirt. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, but I'm also going to leave a small gap because that's where I'm going to insert my elastic later on. So with that done, I put a safety pin in the end of my elastic to help guide it through the tube, inserted it through the hole in the waistband, and threaded it through the skirt until it came out the other end. And then I sewed the 2 ends of elastic together like this. Then I popped the elastic back through the hole and sewed over the top to close it up. And I'm done. How easy was that? I'm now planning to visit the thrift shop and get myself as many oversized kitschy jumpers as possible and turn them all into super cute pencil skirts. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my last episode, episode number 6, and I'll see you all for my very next video. Bye!